Hey guys, back at it. This is day 261 in my 1 year daily diary challenge. This challenge was prompted after I completed a 100-day challenge. Those first 100 days were intuitively prompted through a meditation devotional session, and it was just highly prompted by my intuition just to record, post 100 days of daily diary audio entries to a large platform. So here I am. This is always 100% raw, real, uncut, unedited. Just literally press record and do my daily diary entry and then post it to you guys to listen to later. After those first 100 days, decided to continue for one whole year. And so we are well on our way to completing that in today being day 261. So right around almost to that 100-day mark left. And I'm so excited to be here. So let's get to it. Today is a Thursday. It is a school day for us. So I got up, got the kids ready to go and to school. It's still been chilly here in the morning, so sometimes I'll need to get out in the car and just start it so that it's not like freezing cold and frosty. In the mornings, I typically help the kids get ready. So I'll get up, I'll fill up their water bottles with like ice and fresh water, help them if they have their computers on the charger, if they have any snacks or food items that they want to bring with them. Just that is what I do to help them in the morning. And typically for my daughter, I'll help her get her hair done if she needs it. And then we are off on the way to go, getting her off to school first, and then come home to get my son to school. And between those times, getting my daughter to school and then my son to school is when I will sit down and do my recordings. And then sometimes I'll wait until later to do it, but other times I will do my vibration plate therapy and my acupressure grounding therapy between those times as well. So this morning my back was still a little achy and sore. I decided to not go to yoga with my friend Ben and just to take time to get everything in the house done that I needed to and sit with a heating pad and ice alternatively. So got my son to school, then came home and literally just did everything I needed to do. So dishwasher done, laundry done, taking out the recycling and the trash, which we have small bins inside, so they fill up really quickly. I was able to clean up some of the counter, clean up the sink. I still have to deep clean the sofa. I didn't get to that, but I did a lot of other cleaning and deep cleaning things. I also was playing my 888 Hertz money manifestation abundance music all day, and I've really been just feeling that vibe. So got to my vibration plate therapy, my acupressure, and my grounding therapy. I did all of my stretching. I didn't do the kettlebell because I don't want to pull the muscles in my back more than they already are. I did my sauna, and while I was in the sauna, still listening to the 888 Hertz abundance money manifestation music, I decided to do my own timeline therapy. So I had gone through extensive timeline therapy a couple of years ago when I separated from my ex-husband, and I love my therapist. He's more than a therapist. He's really the friend, someone close that I can reach out and connect to now. But he did some hypnotherapy and some timeline therapy with me in combination. And so from all of that, I do remember the process of how we went about removing childhood traumas and or just normal limiting beliefs. And it was very easy for me to recall the process. And so I decided I know that the childhood trauma that has come up is something that I need to release and something I needed to kind of dive into first. So it's been a couple of days of me sitting on it, talking about it, processing through what it actually meant and what it meant for me to release it. So all of the things I've been processing through and thinking about with that is that it was a traumatic event when I was a child. I was 4 years old. I was showing compassion and I was speaking up and using my voice. And that was not allowed in that moment. It was, I was yelled at, I was reprimanded, I was punished for doing that at the age of 4. And so I know that because of that whole situation that happened, it created, a domino effect in the rest of my life that I was, holding on to that trauma and never wanting to be open with my voice, speak my truth. I was never really wanting to stand up for other people and show my compassion when people are emotional and stuff. So sitting on it for a little bit allowed me to go back and think about things that have happened over my life that have happened because of that event. And that I don't need to have this icky resentment and this icky anger and this icky any feelings towards anyone in my family or myself for that. I don't need to hold on to it anymore. I am not the victim. I am not the product of that anymore. And so for me to be able to sit with it and release it in a different way and remove all the ickiness was great. So as I did my timeline therapy, I was able to speak exactly the limiting beliefs that were there and remove it from my timeline and put a new picture in my future timeline that represents who I am and what I stand for and the belief systems that I have in place. And so it was great for me just to sit there in the sauna while this meditative music was going on, go into my timeline, remove the limiting beliefs and the trauma, and then now put a picture in the future of what that looks like, me being fresh and new and released of all of this. It's now that I've worked through it and now that I've, done all that stuff, it's really no need for me to talk about it, no need for me to bring it up, no need for me to do anything else with it because I have removed it and released it. And like I said, I'm no longer a victim. It happened in my life. I now recognize it and understand it and allowed the space to be okay with that. And moving forward, I'm going to be, not bothered. It's not going to affect me. I'm not going to hold on to it and say, oh, when I was a kid, this happened to me and it caused me to, lose my compassion and lose my voice and this and that and the other thing, because I don't need to. I've already addressed it. It's already removed. It's already cleared up. I removed all the icky feelings inside. I, cut cords. I released a whole bunch of stuff and relationships. And just because you cut cords and release a relationship doesn't mean that you're disowning a person or removing them completely. You're just cutting ties, cutting connections with that person from who you used to be or who they used to be. So it's like a fresh start, a clean slate. Like this is us starting over, starting new, starting fresh. And we're not holding on to anything in the past. So on my side, at least, I've done all of that for my family members. And moving forward, I will now be the person that I am now without all of that ickiness that I was feeling, without all of that victim mentality, without all of that stuff, that doesn't matter anymore. I mean, it was part of my story, which is going to be something coming up in the future that I'm going to be telling my story. But I don't need to hold on to all of that ickiness, like I said. So And I am very visual, and I have a lot of pictures in my head of like feelings. And so for me, it was like almost like molasses or like a green slime, like a really nasty green slime that I was feeling like that was inside of me. That I was just like, it was creating this icky, like I said, ickiness. It was just not something I wanted inside of me anymore. And so I was able to release that, remove that, clean it, clear it, move forward, move on. And I am really excited about everything coming up in the future and that I get to move through in a different way. I get to be compassionate towards people who might not have a voice and might not be able to stand up for themselves, who are emotional, who are hurting. I get to speak my truth. I get to have my voice. I get to be amazing and have this empowerment that I no longer move through life the way that I was told to before. That I get to move through life the way that I feel is the right way and the way that I want to, show up in the world. And that is amazing. And that is just a crazy, amazing, freeing feeling. So after the sauna, after I did all that timeline therapy stuff, I was still listening to the music, still moving through with that abundant mindset. I had somebody reach out to me about my daughter's bed that I had listed. Now, this was like the funny part because it has been just an annoyance for people to just send me messages, completely lowball offer me, and just like not have any kind of respect for, I know the value of this piece of furniture. I know the value of, coming to get it and what I'm offering here. So people lowball and they're like, oh, complaining and grumbling. And I'm like, okay, fine. Just going to delete all of those posts and thank the people for, coming through. And then after doing all of this work and abundance, listening to that 888 Hertz, someone sent me a message about the bed. They said, I can come tonight. I could offer you this much. And it was like exactly what I thought I was going to get for it. And perfect. This couple came with a U-Haul truck. They disassembled it. They took it out. They were really pleasant, really nice. It worked out beautifully. And, the kids obviously have mattresses to sleep on. I'm not going to have them sleeping on the floor, but now they don't have like the bed frames that go along with the mattresses, because they're changing their mind. They're older. Once we move down to Florida, we'll figure out new furniture, and it's just not worth it to move the furniture if they're not going to keep it. So that is what we did. And so now all of the big pieces of furniture are sold, except I think that I'm going to try to sell my dining room table. It's a perfectly fine table. I just, in my mind, have a different vision for what I want in the future for my table. Chairs, I'm keeping the chairs because I love those chairs. So that would be the only piece of furniture that I would be needing to sell before we move. And I mean, it's like fine. Everything else we've been purging, we've been removing, we've been, clearing space, and it's been great. So that was just the first part of the day. Then, I did some more heating pad on my back. I got something to eat and drink in the afternoon. I have been, a friend of mine reached out asking for advice for, her and a friend of her are opening up a tea house and apothecary. And she was like, do you know anybody? I know you know coffee, but do you know anybody in the tea realm? And so I sent her 2 of my contacts that do tea. And then I was like, oh, and my grandmother does tea and apothecary stuff too. So I'm making all of that connection happen, and getting ready for my grandma's tea workshop coming up. So I am letting my abundance overflow to other people. And like I said, it doesn't have to be financial abundance all the time, because I do have an abundance of knowledge and an abundance of, contacts and an abundance of time. Like there's other things that I can be abundant in, and I can share that abundance with others. So if you are so close-minded as you are thinking about manifesting different things, think outside the box, think the bigger picture, think like 3,000 feet in the air kind of thing. Like I can say abundance all day long and I can look for abundance, but if I'm only actually thinking about abundance in money, that is very narrow, because I can be abundant in love. I can have so many people around me who love me and so much love in my heart that that's an abundance. I can have abundance in support, like, people around me who are supporting me and giving me things that aren't actually money, like giving me their time, giving me their energy, giving me their help, giving me like advice, giving me things like, okay, I had an extra chicken that I bought at the store. Here you go. Like, food is abundant too. There's just so many things that we don't think of necessarily when we're manifesting abundance. And I'm just always now looking outside of the box in abundance, where I'm just like thankful for all of the abundance that I can see and that I can't see. And if I want specific financial abundance, I am going to be specific about that. But yes, I was working on the phone and the computer in the afternoon while I was on the heating pads, waiting for my time to go pick up my daughter, and just like getting to some work stuff and thinking about the future of my businesses and thinking about the future of how I want my life to look and how I want to live that life and how I can make that happen and what steps are next for me, because I am not going to live in the same pattern as before. I'm not going to live in society's patterns. I am going to be completely, I wouldn't say like the most unique 1%, but I'm going to go outside of the norms. I have already done that this year by stepping away from my 9-to-5 job and being quote unquote technically unemployed. I have not worked for a company in over a year, and it's not been quite a year yet. So Mother's Day last year is when I stepped away from my job and I stopped buying into this whole system. And since then, I've had all the time for my kids, all the time for my family, all the time for myself to rest and digest and to settle into who I am and be comfortable with that. I've also been able to do a lot of projects. I've been able to travel a lot. I have been able to move through life this last year without stressing out, because I have been provided for financially, and in other ways as well. So like I have not been stressed out anytime this whole year about anything. Well, I can't say that 100% because it's natural for us to do that, but I have been abundant and I have been provided for, and the universe is amazing and wonderful and fabulous. And I've just been living in this year of freedom. And next year, I will be jumping into action. So it will be more of like, now that I've had a year to rest and digest and be provided for and see the miracles and the abundance of the universe and how it supports me with whatever I want and need and desire, now it's time for me to say, okay, let's put it in overdrive and let's get this party started. So yes, that's kind of where I'm at. I was able to get to pick my daughter up from school today in Carline so that we could go to the chiropractor, and we got there earlier than our appointment, but we were able to be seen earlier. It was raining, it was gloomy, but I loved it because it was the first day of spring and it's raining, and it's just so much abundance from the sky in the form of water coming down, saturating, getting ready for spring to bloom and blossom, and just it's amazing. I always look at everything a little bit different than other people. So I was like, oh, yes, it's raining. I love it. And then I was able to get my son from the school bus, so he didn't have to run through the rain, which was lovely. And then we just hung out at home and we got dinner going. I, again, sat on the sofa with a heating pad, some, other stuff on my back to just help aid in the soreness. And then we wrapped it up kind of early. Because my daughter's bed was sold in the evening, I was able to vacuum and dust her room around where the bed was. Excuse me. And then get the mattress set up for her to sleep. So that was, that was the evening. But it was a beautifully, wonderfully, amazingly awesome day. Lots of things happened, but it wasn't, like I said, super busy, where I was running around nonstop. And I'm just getting ready for the weekend. So got that tea class with my grandma and got a day of relaxing and probably dance if my back feels, up to it. And then Sunday I have a mini women's retreat that I'm going to. So that'll be amazing as well. And yeah, it's just a lot of really fun things going on. I got my Florida crush that I've been talking to. He is so cute because at work he will pop on a quick 10 or 15 minute phone call. He's like, hey, I got some time. Let me talk to you. Let's call, and he's super cute all throughout the day, sending messages. We send regular texts. We send audio messages. Very, very cute. Very not, like I said, my type, which I've been trying to go outside of my type and just date a person for who they are. And like I said, Love is Blind is kind of like that trashy reality TV, but I do love the premise and the basis of it because it's you really fall in love with the person and who they are and not with what they look like. Of course, that's going to help with, how your attraction is at some point, but so we've just been getting to know each other really well, and we are going to see each other in 2 weeks when I go down to Florida for the weekend. And that weekend is just a very quick weekend just to see him, touch base with my mom and her husband, and then do a couple of coffee things, because I had the weekend, I had the time, I bought my ticket. It was it just felt like everything felt like it was lining up for that. So lots of stuff coming up. I'm super excited just to be moving through into this new phase, a new chapter, new me. And thank you guys for being here, for being present, for listening, for supporting me by just listening, also supporting me by subscribing, sharing, commenting, all the things. I do love you guys so much and I appreciate it. Have a fabulous day and take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.